It's a curious thing about life. Most people drift through it, as if carried by an unseen current, never realizing they hold the oars in their own hands. They look at others, the successful, the fulfilled, and assume they were born under a luckier star. But Earl Nightingale, a man who began with little more than a voice and an idea, proved beyond question that every human being possesses within themselves the power to become anything. His story is not one of chance, it is one of choice, thought, and the quiet determination of the mind. He once said, "We become what we think about." Simple words, yet within them lies the seed of every dream ever realized, every invention ever created, every life ever transformed. Nightingale taught that success is not reserved for the few. It is the natural result of those who dare to think differently, who dare to believe that the unseen can become the seen. The moment you decide what you truly want, and hold that image before your mind with persistence, the universe begins to rearrange itself to make it real. Most people never define what they want. They think in vague terms. I just want to be happy, or I want to be successful. But Nightingale challenged us to be precise. Write it down, he said. Picture it every day, because when you do, your thoughts begin to carve paths through reality itself. The mind, like fertile soil, grows whatever you plant. Plant weeds, you get weeds. Plant dreams, and you get destiny. Earl was not a man of empty words. He proved this truth by living it. From working as a young Marine, to becoming one of the most recognized voices in radio, to inspiring millions with the strangest secret, he demonstrated the law he preached, that our lives are the mirrors of our dominant thoughts. He showed us that no man is limited by circumstance, but only by the limits he accepts in his own mind. So, what about you? What are you thinking about day after day? Because that, and only that, will determine who you become. Not luck, not inheritance, not chance. It's the steady, disciplined direction of your thoughts toward a single worthy goal. The mind is a magnet, and you are its master. Direct it well, and it will draw to you everything you need to fulfill your purpose. Have you ever stopped for a moment, really stopped, and asked yourself why some people seem to rise almost effortlessly, while others struggle through life as though they were born chained to the ground? Look around. Every city, every street, every community has those who succeed beyond measure, not because they were born with more talent, not because they had more luck, but because they learned how to think. They discovered a truth so simple, so profound, that once it takes root in your mind, it can transform everything you are and everything you hope to be. The truth is this: you become what you think about. That statement, short as it is, holds within it the key to every success and every failure. It is the quiet law of the universe that governs human destiny, whether we know it or not. Every thought that passes through your mind leaves a trace, like a seed falling into the soil of your subconscious. You may not notice it at first, no one does. But over time, those thoughts take root. They grow silently, invisibly, until one day they bloom into reality. The life you live right now, the circumstances you find yourself in, are nothing more and nothing less than the harvest of the thoughts you've sown. Think about that. Every achievement, every disappointment, every joy and every regret, all of them began as thoughts. A dream, a doubt, a decision. You thought it, and by thinking it again and again, you gave it life. If that is true, and it is, then imagine the power that lies within you. Imagine what you could become if you learned to take charge of that process consciously. Most people never do. They allow their minds to drift, their thoughts to wander wherever the winds of circumstance blow them. They think about worry, and they live in worry. They think about failure, and they attract it. They think about what they fear, and that fear builds the walls of their existence. But then there are those who awaken, who realize that the mind is not meant to drift, but to be directed. They understand that thought is not a feather to be blown about by every passing gust, but a compass to be held steady toward a chosen destination. Once a person discovers that, life changes. They stop blaming the world, the economy, their upbringing, or their luck, because they see the truth. They have been holding the controls all along. Now, this is not magic. It's not a trick of positive thinking or wishful dreaming. It is a principle as real as gravity, as unyielding as the tides. You will always move in the direction of your dominant thoughts. If those thoughts are of strength, growth, purpose, and contribution, then your actions will begin to reflect that. If your mind is consumed with limitation, complaint, and fear, your life will faithfully mirror those things back to you. The world is neutral, it only echoes what you send out. The remarkable thing is that the process begins the moment you decide. You don't need to wait for a perfect time, a perfect plan, or a perfect chance. The act of deciding what you want, truly deciding, sets unseen forces into motion. When your mind becomes focused on a definite purpose, your energy reorganizes. Your speech changes, your posture changes, your habits begin to shift. You notice opportunities that were invisible before because your mind is now tuned to them. It's as though life begins to cooperate with you, but in truth, it's simply responding to the new signals you're sending out. This is the education life never gives us in school. We are taught how to earn a living, but not how to create a life. We are told what to memorize, but rarely what to imagine. We are graded on how well we repeat facts, not on how boldly we dream. Yet it is the dreamers, the ones who dared to think differently, who built every bridge, discovered every cure, and opened every frontier humanity has ever known. The same power that worked through them works through you. It does not choose favorites, it obeys the thinker. So take a moment and ask yourself, what am I thinking about most of the time? Is it where I want to go, or what I fear might happen? Because your mind cannot distinguish between the two. It simply takes what you give it and begins to build it, piece by piece, circumstance by circumstance, until the invisible becomes visible. You are not your environment. Your environment is the shadow cast by your mind. Change the source, and the shadow must change as well. There is a quiet revolution waiting to begin in every individual who hears these words. A revolution of the mind. The greatest battle you'll ever fight won't be against other people, or against circumstance, but against the inertia of your own thinking. The day you learn to direct your thoughts instead of letting them direct you, that is the day your life begins to rise. Because in the end, everything, every joy, every accomplishment, every act of greatness, begins in the same place. A single thought, held long enough, believed deeply enough, acted upon consistently enough, until it becomes reality. There is a moment in every person's life when they stand at the edge of possibility. A quiet crossroad where the ordinary and the extraordinary separate. It is not a physical place, not marked by signs or lights, but a decision point that exists entirely in the mind. In that moment, one simple question determines the course of a lifetime. What do I truly think about day after day? For that single question shapes every result that follows. Thought, invisible and silent, is the architect of circumstance. It molds your character, attracts your opportunities, and forms the invisible foundation of the life you live. You see, everything begins not in action, but in imagination. The house is first drawn in the mind before it is built with hands. The symphony is first heard within before it is written down. The path to greatness starts not with a step, but with a thought that says, I can. And yet, most people never discover this creative power. They underestimate the value of a single idea, dismiss the influence of their inner dialogue, and drift through life reacting to what happens, instead of shaping what could be. When you look closely, you'll notice something profound. The difference between those who live fulfilled lives and those who simply exist is the quality of their thoughts. People who achieve, who grow, who contribute, have learned to discipline their minds the way an athlete disciplines their body. They feed it with purpose, strengthen it through focus, and guard it against negativity as though guarding treasure. The unsuccessful, on the other hand, treat thought as idle entertainment, a background noise they never question. They allow fear, doubt, and envy to occupy the seat of imagination, never realizing that these emotions, left unchallenged, slowly dictate their fate. This is the great educational gap of humanity, the lack of training in how to think. We spend years studying how to read, how to calculate, how to analyze, but very few learn how to direct thought toward creation. The mind, left undirected, will act like an untended field. Weeds will grow without invitation. If you do not plant the seeds of purpose and possibility, the weeds of fear and limitation will overtake the soil. Every moment you think, you are sowing, whether you mean to or not. The question is not whether you are planting, but what. Consider for a moment how easily the mind can be swayed by the world around it. News headlines, gossip, worry, comparison, they pour in like rain. If you do not filter them, if you do not set a conscious boundary, your mind will absorb them and begin to mirror them. That is why so many live lives of quiet frustration. They think the thoughts of the masses not their own. They are pulled by trends, opinions, and fears that are not even theirs. To rise above the noise, one must learn to choose thoughts as deliberately as one chooses food. Because the thoughts you consume daily will determine whether you are nourished or poisoned by life itself. The fascinating thing is that the mind, once trained, becomes a servant of astonishing precision. When you hold a goal before it clearly, it begins to work day and night, drawing into your awareness ideas, people, and situations that align with that image. It becomes a magnet for conditions that match the mental picture you sustain. This is not coincidence. It is the natural law of concentration and belief. What you consistently expect, you eventually experience. The subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between a vividly imagined reality and one already lived. So it moves your entire being toward that image until it becomes tangible. But make no mistake, this is not achieved through fleeting optimism or empty affirmations. It requires persistence, a daily, disciplined practice of holding your thoughts to the standard of your vision. It means replacing "I can't" with "I will find a way." It means refusing to dwell on failure longer than it takes to extract its lesson. It means seeing yourself not as a victim of chance, but as an artist shaping the clay of your own existence. The more you think this way, the more natural it becomes. The mind that was once filled with doubt becomes filled with direction. The thoughts that once dragged you down begin to lift you higher. This is the true power of education, not merely the gathering of information, but the cultivation of understanding. To understand that your thoughts are tools, not toys. To know that the quality of your thinking is the foundation of your future. To realize that no one can think for you, and therefore no one can create for you. Once that realization takes hold, life ceases to be something that happens to you and becomes something that happens through you. So let your thoughts be worthy of the life you desire. Let them be bold, generous, and disciplined. Let them stretch beyond fear and habit, beyond the limitations you once accepted as truth, because the world you live in tomorrow will be built line by line, from the blueprint you are drafting today, in the silence of your own mind. Most people drift through life without ever deciding what they truly want. They wake up each day with no clear destination, reacting to whatever the world throws their way, as though life were something that simply happens to them. And because they never define their desires, they move in circles, busy but not productive, occupied but not fulfilled. The tragedy of it all is not that they fail to achieve, it's that they never decide what to achieve in the first place. Clarity is power, and until the mind is given a definite purpose, it cannot harness the full strength of its creative force. The difference between a person who succeeds and one who merely survives can often be traced to a single act: deciding what to become, what to give, what to pursue. Once you decide, truly decide, the entire universe seems to shift to accommodate that decision. The fog clears. The path once hidden begins to reveal itself one step at a time. You may not see the entire road ahead, but you no longer need to. You've chosen the direction, and that choice alone creates momentum. The person without a goal drifts like a ship without a rudder, tossed by every wave of circumstance. The person with a goal, even when facing storms, still moves forward because the compass within them points true. Yet here's the curious thing. Many people fear to define what they want because the moment they do, they awaken a responsibility within themselves. If you declare a goal, you can no longer hide behind excuses. You must face the truth that your results will reflect your effort and discipline. That frightens the faint-hearted, but it liberates the courageous. To state what you want is to take ownership of your life. It's to say, I am no longer content with drifting. I choose to direct my destiny. This act of decision is not a one-time event, it's a way of thinking. Every great achievement begins with a mind that says, this is what I will do, and means it. From that moment on, thoughts begin to align, habits begin to shift, and energy begins to focus. It is remarkable how the simple act of writing down a clear, specific goal can awaken a dormant power within. The very process of putting your desire into words gives form to the invisible. It transforms a wish into a commitment and a dream into a plan. The mind, once given clear instruction, works tirelessly to make that image a reality. But clarity alone is not enough. It must be sustained by daily attention. The human mind forgets easily, and in the noise of life, Even the strongest intentions can fade into background static. That is why you must remind yourself, every morning, every night, of what you have chosen to become. Read your goal, see it. Feel it as though it were already yours. The subconscious does not distinguish between imagination and experience. It responds only to repetition and emotion. The more vividly and consistently you hold your goal, the more naturally your thoughts and actions begin to align with it. This is where true discipline begins. Not the harsh discipline of force, but the calm, intelligent discipline of focus. You no longer need to chase every opportunity or respond to every distraction, because you have a clear filter. If it brings you closer to your goal, it belongs in your life. If it does not deserve your attention. That simple standard eliminates confusion and gives purpose to your every effort. The hours you once wasted in doubt or worry now become hours of creation and movement. The law of mind is precise. What you think about, you bring about. If your mind is filled with vague hopes, your results will be vague. If your thoughts are specific, persistent, and backed by purpose, the results will be just as specific and powerful. A goal gives your energy direction. Without it, your energy is scattered, like sunlight diffused through a cloudy sky. But when concentrated, it becomes like a beam of light through a lens, powerful enough to ignite fire. That fire is what transforms ordinary men and women into inventors, leaders, and creators. When you choose a goal, choose it boldly. Don't choose what you think you can get, choose what you want. The mind thrives on challenge. The greater the goal, the greater the potential it awakens within you. Small goals do not inspire. They do not stretch the imagination or stir the spirit. Choose something that excites you, something that makes you rise a little taller when you think about it. You do not need to know how it will happen. That will come. The important thing is that you fix your gaze upon it and refuse to look away. Remember, life will always meet you at the level of your expectation. Think small, and you'll live small. Think grandly, and you'll find yourself rising to meet your own vision. It begins with a decision. A clear, unwavering decision about what you want your life to mean. Write it down. See it, believe it. And from that moment on, let every thought, every choice, every action move in that direction. Because once the mind knows where it's going, there is no force in the world that can stop it. Every life stands as living proof of an unseen law, that a person becomes the sum of their thoughts, decisions, and persistence. No man or woman has ever risen to greatness by accident. Every achievement, every triumph, every quiet victory begins when an individual accepts full responsibility for who they are and what they are becoming. Success is not a matter of environment or inheritance. It is the result of awareness, direction, and the steadfast refusal to surrender to mediocrity. The world does not favor orphans of purpose. It rewards those who have learned to think and act in harmony with the principles of growth and creation. There are countless stories of people who began with nothing but a thought, a spark of belief that they could become more. They faced circumstances that would have defeated others, yet something within them refused to yield. That inner force, that quiet conviction, was the difference. It was not money, education, or luck that set them apart, but an unshakable certainty that they themselves held the key to their destiny. This is the truth that transforms. When you realize that you are not the product of what happens to you, but of how you respond to it, you step into the highest form of freedom a human being can know. You cannot control the winds, but you can set the sail. You cannot choose the weather, but you can choose the direction. Every obstacle, every hardship, carries within it the seed of equal or greater benefit, but only if you learn to look for it. That is the discipline of the mind, to see opportunity where others see only misfortune. When others give up, you persist. When they see failure, you see feedback. You begin to understand that the challenges of life are not sent to stop you, but to strengthen you, to test the seriousness of your intent. And every time you rise again, you prove, not to the world, but to yourself, that your power lies within. Circumstances are the mirrors of belief. Look around your life, and you will see a reflection of your inner thought patterns. If you change the cause, the thinking, the effect must change as well. This is why true success is never merely about money, fame, or recognition. Those are byproducts, shadows cast by the inner light of understanding and purpose. Real success begins the moment you decide to take command of your thoughts, to live by principle rather than reaction. When you begin to think intentionally, to hold an image of what you desire and align your daily actions with that image, you awaken a force that few ever harness, the creative power of a mind in harmony with purpose. This is not theory, it is law. The person who thinks thoughts of strength grows stronger. The one who dwells on failure multiplies weakness. Life gives back exactly what you put into it, no more, no less. If you sow seeds of faith, you will harvest results that astonish you. But if you sow doubt, fear, and complaint, you will find those too multiplied and matured. Every moment of every day you are planting. The question is, what kind of garden are you growing in your mind? When a person takes control of their thoughts, they take control of their world. The body responds, the emotions respond, even circumstances respond. Your mind becomes like a magnet, drawing to it people, opportunities, and events that correspond to its dominant vibration. This is not mysticism. It is the natural order of cause and effect. Thought precedes action, action creates habit. Habit builds destiny. The stronger and clearer the thought, the more powerful the chain of creation that follows. But it is not enough to know this law. You must live it. Knowledge unused is like a book left unread, full of power, yet powerless to change your life. The transformation begins only when you apply it, when you practice directing your mind toward that which uplifts and expands you. This means watching what you allow into your consciousness. The words you speak, the company you keep, the content you consume. Every influence shapes your thinking in some measure, and your thinking shapes your reality. Be as careful with the thoughts you entertain as you would be with the food you eat. Feed your mind with ideas of growth, gratitude, and progress, and you will begin to feel an inner strength that no adversity can shake. One of the greatest realizations in life comes when you understand that you need no permission to rise. You do not need to wait for anyone to give you a chance, to open a door to believe in you. The power to begin lies within you right now, in your ability to choose your next thought. Every great leap forward starts in silence, in that moment when an individual decides, I will not think as I did before. I will not live by limitations I once accepted as truth. I will think on purpose, live on purpose, and let my mind be the builder of my best self. And when that decision becomes a daily habit, the world cannot help but respond. People will call you lucky, but luck has nothing to do with it. They will call you gifted, but it is not a gift. It is a choice. The moment you take control of your mind, you take control of your future. Everything that once seemed impossible begins to take form, not because the world changed, but because you did. There comes a point in every person's journey when they must look honestly at themselves and ask, what am I thinking about most of the time? Because that single question holds the power to reveal not just where you are, but where you are heading. The mind is not idle. It is constantly at work, shaping the invisible patterns that become the visible experiences of your life. Every thought you hold with emotion becomes a command to the subconscious, a blueprint that the world begins to follow. Whether you realize it or not, your mind is always creating. The question is not whether it's working, but whether it's working for you or against you. What occupies your thoughts daily will become the life you live tomorrow. If you dwell on fear, worry, and doubt, you invite those very things to build a home in your circumstances. If you focus instead on growth, strength, and purpose, your life begins to mirror those higher states. The mind is like fertile soil. It does not care what you plant. It will return in kind whatever seeds you sow. The gardener who plants thorns should not curse the ground when he walks barefoot. In the same way, you cannot fill your thoughts with negativity and expect joy to blossom. Life gives back exactly what you feed into it. It is astonishing how few people truly understand this. They move through their days thinking carelessly, as if thoughts were harmless, invisible whispers with no consequence. Yet everything we see, the city's inventions, works of art, and institutions, began as thoughts. The entire world is a reflection of what humanity has imagined, feared, desired, and believed over centuries. On a smaller but equally powerful scale, your personal world is the reflection of what you have thought, feared, desired, and believed. The moment you grasp this truth, you awaken to a power greater than any circumstance, the power of self-direction. To direct your thoughts means to take ownership of your mental environment. It means deciding moment by moment what you will permit to dwell in your mind. It means refusing to entertain ideas that weaken you. You cannot stop birds from flying overhead, but you can stop them from nesting in your hair. In the same way, you cannot prevent negative thoughts from passing through your mind, but you can refuse to let them take root. Every time you replace a thought of failure with one of confidence, every time you replace worry with gratitude, you are reshaping the structure of your inner world, and soon the outer one begins to follow. Many people spend their energy resisting what they don't want instead of creating what they do want. They focus on problems instead of solutions, lack instead of abundance, failure instead of progress. The mind, hearing only the dominant image, works faithfully to reproduce it. It cannot distinguish between what you fear and what you desire. It only knows what you think about with feeling. This is why the secret to change lies not in fighting against the old, but in building the new. Focus all your attention on what you want to create, not on what you wish to avoid. You cannot drive forward while staring in the rearview mirror. This process is both motivational and educational because it requires awareness and discipline. Awareness to recognize what thoughts dominate your mind, and discipline to replace them when they do not serve you. Over time, as this becomes a habit, you begin to notice something remarkable. Your emotions stabilize, your energy increases, and your results improve. You begin to experience a sense of calm control because you are no longer a victim of random thinking. You become deliberate. You start each day by setting the tone in your own mind, and the day begins to match that tone. Imagine for a moment two individuals standing side by side, facing the same circumstances. One thinks of possibility, the other of limitation. One says, "This is difficult, but I can find a way." The other says, "This is impossible." Both are right, because each will act according to their belief. The first will explore, adapt, and learn until progress appears. The second will quit before beginning, certain that failure is inevitable. Their worlds may look identical on the outside, but inside they are living in two entirely different realities. That is the power of thought. It builds the world you see. Once you begin to control your thoughts, you gain the ability to control your direction. You no longer drift from one reaction to the next, but act with intention. You choose your focus deliberately, and that focus determines your destiny. It is impossible to think one way and live another for long. Thought and life must eventually align. A person who cultivates gratitude will find reasons to be grateful. A person who constantly expects trouble will find it waiting at every turn. The universe reflects you, not as punishment or reward, but as cooperation. It gives back what you give it, no more and no less. If you want to change your life, begin by changing your dominant thoughts. Start small, with gratitude, purpose, vision, and possibility. Train your mind as you would train a muscle. It may resist at first, but persistence creates strength. Every time you choose a positive thought over a negative one, you are rewriting the script of your future. It may not happen overnight, but it will happen. Slowly, steadily, inevitably. Because thought held long enough and believed deeply enough becomes reality. And once you master that truth, you hold the most powerful tool any person can possess: the ability to think yourself into the life you desire. There is within every person a quiet spark that waits for recognition, a silent force that whispers you can be more. For some, that whisper fades beneath the noise of doubt and distraction. For others, it grows louder until it becomes an unshakable conviction, a call to rise, to think differently, to live deliberately. The truth is that no one is born special. Greatness is not a gift granted to the few. It is a potential buried in every mind, waiting for the moment it is believed in, nurtured, and expressed through action. The difference between the person who lives fully and the one who merely exists lies in how they answer that whisper. The journey toward becoming begins in thought, but it is completed in faith and persistence. You cannot hope to live a new life while thinking in old ways. Change begins not in circumstance, but in consciousness. When a person learns to hold a clear picture of what they desire and to move toward it with quiet confidence, they awaken a creative force that reshapes everything around them. The mind begins to attract ideas, people, and opportunities that match the frequency of belief. To the outside observer, it may look like luck, but to the one who understands, it is the inevitable result of harmony between thought and purpose. There is no mystery in success, only principle. And the greatest of all principles is that life reflects back to you the image you hold of yourself. If you see yourself as limited, the world will confirm it. If you see yourself as capable, as deserving of good, as a contributor to something larger than yourself, the world will respond in kind. This is not self-deception, it is self-direction. You are teaching your mind what to expect, and expectation is the mold into which reality is poured. Every invention, every discovery, every step forward humanity has made began with one person daring to believe that the invisible could be made visible. That same power lies dormant in you, not less than in any genius leader or creator who has ever lived. The tools are the same: thought, belief, persistence, and imagination. These are the instruments of human progress. You may not control the world, but you can control your mind. And in mastering your mind, you master the part of the world that truly matters, your own experience of it. The moment you decide to think on purpose, to set your mind toward a goal and hold it there regardless of appearances, something remarkable happens. You begin to feel a sense of direction, as though life itself were guiding you. Coincidences start appearing, new opportunities unfold, and challenges that once seemed insurmountable begin to serve as stepping stones. This is not magic. It is alignment, the natural harmony between clear thought and consistent action. A person who knows where they are going and believes in that direction radiates a quiet magnetism that draws people and events into alignment with their vision. Many people wait for the perfect time to begin, but perfection never comes. The world belongs to those who start, who take the first small step in faith. Action breeds clarity. Each effort, each failure, each correction sharpens your understanding and strengthens your resolve. The goal does not have to be fully visible at first. Like a traveler walking through the fog, you need only see the next few steps. The light appears as you move forward. The greatest mistake is to stand still, waiting for certainty. Life rewards movement, not hesitation. And as you move, you must remember that no one succeeds alone. Every person who has achieved something meaningful has done so by contributing to others. The mind that thinks only of itself limits its own expansion. The moment you begin to think in terms of service, of how your growth can help, uplift, or inspire those around you, the universe opens wider doors. Prosperity, peace, and purpose flow to those who give as naturally as they receive. To live well is to create value, to add something to the world that was not there before you came. But above all, the secret lies in persistence. The world often tests those who dream by placing obstacles in their path. These are not punishments, they are proofs. They ask only one question: how badly do you want it? The person who turns back at the first sign of difficulty was never truly convinced. But the one who holds fast, who keeps faith when results are invisible, finds that the resistance itself was building their strength. Patience and perseverance are not passive virtues, they are active powers that shape the unseen into reality. So stand firm in your vision. Guard your thoughts as a king guards his treasure, for within them lies the blueprint of everything you can become. Do not shrink your dreams to fit your current situation. Instead, expand your thinking to meet the size of your potential. You were born with the capacity to imagine, to create, to direct your destiny. When you think with purpose, believe with conviction, act with consistency, and serve with gratitude, life cannot help but yield to your command. Every sunrise offers proof that renewal is possible, that no matter what has come before, you can begin again. And every thought you choose today becomes a brick in the foundation of the life you are building. So think boldly, expect greatly, act daily, for there is no limit to what you can become except the one you choose to accept. So, what does it all come down to? It comes down to one simple, eternal truth. You are the creator of your own life. The thoughts you choose, the images you hold, and the beliefs you nurture are the quiet architects of your destiny. No one else can think for you, dream for you, or act for you. Everything you seek already lies within your own mind, waiting to be awakened through awareness, decision, and persistence. You are not a victim of circumstance, you are the author of circumstance. Life will always mirror the picture you paint in your imagination. If that picture is one of doubt, fear, and limitation, then that is the life that will unfold. But if that picture is filled with faith, clarity, and purpose, the world itself will rise to meet your expectation. The laws of the universe are exact. They respond without emotion, without favoritism, without hesitation. Whatever you sow in thought, you shall reap in form. Every person is born with a blank page and a pen in hand. Each day is a new opportunity to write a story of courage, creativity, and contribution. The choice is always yours. You can drift or you can decide. You can react to life or you can design it. The difference between success and mediocrity, between fulfillment and frustration, is not found in talent or luck. It is found in how one thinks. So let this be the moment you decide to take command of your mind. Let this be the day you stop waiting for permission, for signs, for perfect conditions. The time is now, and the power is within you. Think deliberately, act consistently, and live intentionally. Refuse to accept the limitations others have accepted. Dare to see yourself as capable of greatness, and then prove it through quiet, persistent effort. You can become anything, not by chance, not by fortune, but by choice. The world will not shape you, you will shape it. The person you dream of becoming is not somewhere in the distant future. They are already within you, waiting for your belief to bring them forth. Begin today. Hold your thoughts. Walk with purpose. And soon you will discover what has always been true. You were never ordinary. You were born to create, to rise, to become. And when you finally think like it, act like it, and live like it, nothing in the world can stop you.